Hi, good morning. I'm Chef Regina Charbonneau, and you're joining me today at my kitchen in Natchez, Mississippi, Regina's Kitchen, my little cooking school. And today I'm going to share one of my favorite recipes, my corn and shrimp fritters. This recipe was so popular at my restaurant Shishi Beignet in San Francisco that I actually printed the recipe on the back of my business cards, so kind of a fold over. And I actually, if you come visit me, I'll give you one. I still do that today. But anyway, I will post this recipe on reginaskitchen.com. So this recipe has a good, happy memory for me. So our last hurrah before children, Doug and I went to Guadeloupe and Martinique. And Guadeloupe, all of the chefs that I met there were women, and they wore the beautiful madras headdresses and the long skirts and white aprons, and those ladies could cook. And one of the best dishes that I had there was a smoked cod fritter. No, I have to say smoked cod is not, or it wasn't even smoked cod, salted cod. Not one of my favorite things, but you can use it in different ways. But I thought, well, I'm going to do my little Mississippi twist on it, and I'm going to make the fritters out of corn and shrimp. But it wasn't that part of the recipe that was so important. It was their technique. So they used very little flour in ratio to the good stuff. And so the recipe is, it's only 1 cup of flour, but it's 2 cups of shrimp, 2 cups of corn, half a cup or a cup of green onions, 2 eggs separated, basil, garlic, and then Creole seasoning. Very easy to put together. The most time-consuming thing is frying them. So I've whipped my egg whites. That's key. And I'm going to switch cameras, and I'll show you step by step. I'll put it together. And just remember, my recipes are always on reginaskitchen.com. So we'll talk more about technique today, and you can always print off the recipe for later. Okay, so let me switch cameras, which is always my thing that takes a little bit of effort for me. Okay, I think we're there. All right, so what I've done, let's go over here so you can see everything. I had the corn and the green onions, and I put those in, and you add the, I'm going to add the basil and the garlic, and then I'm going to add my egg yolks and start mixing that. You want to get those egg yolks incorporated well into that. And then it's about what did I say? I think a teaspoon of Tony's. Got that. You want the flavor, you want them to be a little spicy, so you don't have to skimp on the spice. And I'm adding the shrimp. I'm going to add a little more spice to the shrimp. Now remember, the Tony sachets, a lot of these Creole spices are a little salty, so you don't need to add salt. This takes care of everything it's got. All right, so these are well mixed. Now the key is, I'll use this cup to take my cup of flour and 3 teaspoons of baking soda, and I'm just going to mix that. Now you slowly incorporate your flour into this. I don't know if you can see, because after we do the flour, and it will look dry, but I promise, between the egg yolk and also the corn, as it breaks down, moisture will come out. The shrimp has moisture. This will not be dry. You want it. You don't want to wet. You don't want it really wet, because you want to be able to do the fritters where they hold together. But they're, the more liquid you would have in this, the heavier the dish would be. So again, we're just using the good stuff. So, and you've got the leavening from the baking powder, but the egg whites really help, and that's what makes it nice and light. Use something that gives me a little more, helps me stir in that flour. Okay, so now I'm going to fold in my egg whites. So can you see how the egg whites are whipped nice and fluffy? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the egg whites there, and then I'm going to transfer this into this bowl. It'll be easier to mix. And when I say mix, it's going to be more of folding in. Let me get all of this, and then I'll show you. So we're folding those egg whites in. So just lift and fold until we get this incorporated. Do you see how it's already starting to come together with no liquid? This is going to be perfect. I've made a lot of these fritters through the years, and they're always a hit. So you can make your dough a couple of hours ahead of time and just refrigerate it, and then come back and fry them if you're having a party. It's a great appetizer. So, all right, do you see the consistency of the dough? And then I will show you how to, of course I don't have my little spoons here, but I'll just use my hands and show you. So you want it about a tablespoon. And I'm not smushing it. It's very light. I don't, I want it to hold together, but I don't want to compact it. So you just do it to it's about a tablespoon, nice big tablespoon round fritter. And I'll get this in the fryer and show you the end result in just a minute. Or I guess not a minute on your time. I'll make it quicker than that. Here's the finished product, the corn and shrimp fritters. And you can always get the recipes on my website, reginaskitchen.com. And my cookbooks are always available through Amazon. I do try to support local bookstores and privately owned bookstores. So depending on where you live, they're often available there. And also always on my website, reginaskitchen.com. Enjoy this recipe, and I will see you soon.